Welcome to Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, where the NFC East can be won tonight. Week 16, all-time Philadelphia, all-time Dallas. Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon, and what should be a fabulous football game. Happy holidays from the Big D in Dallas. Brian Westbrook on the return for Philadelphia, wrapped up by Williams as he brings it out to the 20. Sparking the three-game winning streak and the tremendous comeback of the season is the dual threat from UNLV, Randall Cunningham. He has thrown for just under 3,000 yards and has run for another 400, Hank, in a brilliant season.
Randall Cunningham has definitely been the prototype for the new age quarterback. Not a lot of guys like him back in the 90s, and he definitely made it worth being successful during that time.
Mini Maverick, the Hall of Fame receiver, catches his first throw of the game. First down, Eagles. Randall Cunningham is 9th in passing yards this season and ranks 4th among quarterbacks in rushing yards with 402 touchdowns on the ground. At the 36, they'll go back to the air, and Cunningham had no chance. Harvey Martin joins Randy White, number 54, for the sack.
That was that Cowboys defense of the 90s that was just nuts. You couldn't really stop them. They always had great players on the field, and they making plays just like that.
White and Martin sharing the co-MVP award in Super Bowl 12, combined for the hit again. McDonald and Quick are the receivers for the Eagles. Pete Retzlaff at tight end, and Steve Van Buren joins fullback Leonard Weaver. 3rd and 16 and a disastrous opening drive for Philadelphia. The snap to Cunningham at the 30, and he's going deep down the left side for McDonald, and he gets by everybody. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
That's one of those things where the defense does really well on 2 of the downs. You get to 3rd and long, and you can't cover the mini Maverick deep. Just absolutely blew past the defender. Blown coverage.
One of the greatest corners of all time, torched on the back end, and Mel Renfro for a 70-yard touchdown catch. The extra point is good. McDonald hauls in his 9th touchdown of the year in what has been a fabulous season for the Hall of Famer out of the 1960s, Tommy McDonald. Away we go. The kickoff from the Eagles, Donnie Jones, and the electrifying Deion Sanders brings it back to the 21. Hassan Reddick with the tackle. The other quarterback on display tonight, leading the division, leading the Dallas Cowboys, is Roger Staubach. Nearly 3,000 yards, 16 touchdowns and 13 picks on 63% completions. He guided the Cowboys to 2 Super Bowl championships during the 70s and won Super Bowl 11 MVP honors. They'll go ground to begin the game with the NFL's all-time leading rusher, a gain of 3 for Eric Smith. Smith joins Don Perkins in the backfield. Michael Irvin and Bob Hayes join one of the most reliable tight ends of all time, Hall of Famer from Tennessee, Jason Witten.
It's crazy. Jason Witten used to be a linebacker, thought he would never play tight end in the National Football League, ended up doing well for the Cowboys back in 2003, 2004, and here he is.
A 3rd-round pick in 03 turned into an absolute superstar, catching passes from Tony Romo and Dak Prescott. 19-yard gain to Michael Irvin and a first down. Irvin is one of the 4 Hall of Fame receivers on this Cowboys roster, joining Terrell Owens, Bob Hayes, and Drew Pearson. Staubach fires to Witten, who's wide open. What is going on in the secondary? First down, Cowboys.
Extreme blown coverage, seemed to be playing in the zone, and just, it's one of those post routes by the tight end, just gets lost in the coverage, and they can't find him. That's why he was wide open.
Playmakers everywhere for this Cowboys offense, but Smith had no chance on that play. Buried by Troy Vincent for a loss of 3. Brian Dawkins, Reggie White, Chuck Bednarik, and Eric Allen joined the dynamic Asante Samuel, but the Hall of Famer is out for the remainder of the season, is Samuel, with a broken collarbone, one of a number of critical injuries to that Eagles defense today. Staubach goes deep against the depleted defense, and Hayes has got it for a first down.
Seems like the pass rush is just unable to get home. The motion worked really well for the Cowboys, and the outcome is an amazing catch along the sideline.
The Eagles, thin of the secondary, had to sign Lito Shepard in the middle of the season with the injuries. A 9-yard gain to Drew Pearson, and it is Shepard who makes the stop. He joins Darius Slay, Troy Vincent, Sheldon Brown, Malcolm Jenkins, Bill Bradley, and Brian Dawkins as the defensive backs for the Eagles today. Staubach throws this one out of bounds in the area of Jay Novacek.
Crazy you're picking from Lito Shepard right there. He has some of the longest pick sixes in Philadelphia Eagles history, only rivaled by Eric Allen,
who had a pick six a week ago in the win against the Jets. Incomplete there. Staubach was red hot to begin the drive, but the offense stalls and they'll settle for the field goal. He burst onto the scene in 2023, and Brandon Aubrey's the greatest kicker in Cowboy history. Former soccer player from Notre Dame hits it from 30. He is 30 of 32 on the season.
You've got kickers being drafted in the NFL these days, and then you've got soccer players who turn UFL, XFL players, and they're better than these guys that are getting drafted. It's pretty amazing how a guy like that could be absolutely ignored throughout his career until now.
It shows you that draft process, just how strange it is. Randall Cunningham had a similar slide down the draft boards when he was picked in 1985, turned into a terrific football player. And this is a big reason why, a gain of 11 and a first down.
And those were plays that he was known for. You got guys playing man defense, they're covering back, you find a seam to run up the field and get big yards.
Known for an outstanding 98 campaign with the Vikings, he was good for a decade before that with the Eagles. So the Eagles at 8-6 are almost eliminated from the wild card race. Bears and Niners go into Week 16, both at 10-4. Meanwhile, Dallas, if they do not win the division, they are firmly in that wild card picture, currently at 10-4 as well. A hot race in the NFC to close the season. White with the tackle. He joins DeMarcus Ware, Bob Lilly, Deion Sanders, and Cliff Harris in an absolutely star-studded, Hall of Fame-filled Dallas defense.
That 70s and 90s period in Cowboys history is absolutely elite. There's so much talent that you can pull from those 2 decades where the Dallas Cowboys were just amazing.
McDonald, an amazing receiver, has got another first down, gain of 16 on the play.
You've got to make that tackle if you're the Dallas Cowboys. Guys about 5 yards behind the gain line. You've got to make sure that you pull a guy like that down, especially when you're bigger than him. 1st and 10. Barkley is in the block on his first snap of the game as Cunningham goes deep to McDonald again, and it is incomplete, and McDonald is down. Here's a look at the NFC leaders. Packers, Bucks, Cowboys, and Rams are the division leaders going into this week. But let's check out the injury to Tommy McDonald, hit by Darren Woodson, and will leave the game. What is a fabulous first quarter for McDonald. It was lucky that wasn't intercepted because the safety had help up top, and Randall Cunningham just didn't see it.
Micah Parsons pulls down Pete Retzlaff after a first down. Pete Retzlaff is the greatest tight end in Eagles history, followed by Keith Jackson, and 3-time Pro Bowler Zach Ertz is at 3rd string for Philly. Out of the eye, it's first down at the 39-yard line, and they'll set up the screen to the Hall of Famer. A broken tackle for Steve Van Buren, and he powers his way to the 31.
Wow, he basically pulled defensive players 5 or 6 yards to get close to that first down marker.
2nd and 2. They'll feed it to Van Buren again, and he is swallowed up by Bob Lilly to close the quarter. A look at the division leaders. The Packers, Cowboys, and Rams, as you can see, all have 10 wins and are vying for the top spot in the NFC. But the division-leading Cowboys are down early in Dallas, 7-3 Philadelphia. The Cowboys can wrap up the NFC East with a win tonight. Happy holidays, Week 16, where the 8-6 Eagles visit the 10-4 Cowboys. Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon, first run of the day from Saquon Barkley. First down, Philadelphia.
Big play by Saquon Barkley to the outside, just getting 1 or 2 yards. That's all you need. You don't have to get more and risk fumbling the football.
All-time Eagle coach Andy Reid with a platoon of running backs. Barkley, one of the 3 that have been regulars in this offense. The others have been Steve Van Buren, the Hall of Famer, and LaShawn McCoy, who wore the number 26 that Barkley did as well in 2024. And they have all been outstanding down the stretch of the season. Van Buren's got another 3 yards and a first down.
Eagles doing a great job controlling the ball, controlling that clock, get the running game involved, getting into the red zone. It's what you need to score more points.
Cunningham against the blitz had no chance. Sacked by Darren Woodson.
Yeah, that's a tough play on the blitz. The Cowboys tried a corner blitz on one of those other plays, but Randall Cunningham was able to exploit it.
And they couldn't block the outside. DeMarcus Ware was unblocked and brings down McCoy for a loss of 5. The Eagles this season are a lowly 38% on third down, but they just converted 3rd and 16 with Tommy McDonald earlier in the game. Cunningham on 3rd and 22. He looks and he'll tuck it and run, then lost the ball, and Roy Williams recovers. Jarred loose by Bob Lilly, and the Cowboys take over.
Announcer's curse right there. I said that they were doing a great job controlling the ball, but fumbling it right there was a big mistake because you just lost out on at least 3 points, or at least the chance to get 3 points.
Smith straight ahead, powers his way to the 28. Randall Cunningham, for all of his outstanding playmaking in the 80s and 90s, he did commit the most fumbles in the NFL in 3 different seasons. That was a major problem for him, and Cunningham loses his 5th fumble of this year. Smith swallowed up by Maxie Baugham on a gain of a yard.
1 yard gain on the play.
Yeah, it's the fumble problem for quarterbacks that are run first. More chances to get tackled to the ground, more chances to lose the ball.
That and the injuries are a big reason why coaches implore quarterbacks to not even try to attempt the runs that guys like Cunningham, who finished runner-up for the MVP award twice in a brilliant career, would take as the nickname Human Joystick. You'll get another crack at it as the Eagles defense did its job. Westbrook returns to the 29.
49-yard punt. Return for a gain of 7 yards.
The all-time Eagles have turned around their season, led by Cunningham and his brilliant playmaking, along with a top 5 defense in the league, ranked 5th in yardage and 4th in points. Barkley on the call gains 3. Saquon Barkley had the greatest single-season rushing year in Eagles history, over 2,000 yards, playing in 16 games in 2024. A fabulous third option for Andy Reid. Cunningham will run it again, and he's got plenty of room. First down.
Number 12.
And don't forget, Saquon Barkley also had the greatest season of all time in the whole season, even the postseason for a running back.
An absolutely incredible year. We guided the Eagles to their 2nd Super Bowl title in 2024. Check down to the fullback, and Leonard Weaver runs us into the 2-minute warning. 125 yards through the air from Cunningham, and considering the defense he's playing against, this has been a brilliant performance all the way around. Cunningham with his 10th throw of the day, and that is complete to A.J. Brown, and it looks like he was in bounds. Indeed he was. First down, Eagles.
Yeah, he was able to make it in, just tiptoed his way to the sideline after catching the ball.
Former Tennessee Titan was traded in 2021 to the Eagles. Cunningham chased down by Ware. Timeout Dallas.
Gain of 3.
The Eagles have controlled the clock and have outgained the Cowboys nearly 3-1. What a performance in this first half. A jet sweep out of the Wildcat. Timeout Dallas. And for the Eagles, they have just played so good in this first half on their end of the 50. But their last drive bogged down. We'll see if they convert here. A.J. Brown is right at the marker, and they'll give it to him.
He is so tough to bring down, and there are so many times in which he barely gets the first down just because he muscles his way through it.
A.J. Brown was one of the best receivers in the league in the 2020s. And, you know, you look at Randall Cunningham, part of why his numbers are so impressive this year is because of the overwhelming amount of talent. We've been talking about the playmaking for the Eagles all season. They may not have a Jerry Rice out there at receiver, Hank, but they've got a lot of guys that are capable.
Yeah, you've got Harold Carmichael, A.J. Brown, Mike Quick, Pete Pihos, a lot of guys who can get the ball.
Van Buren stuffed in the backfield. One of those receivers will not return tonight as Tommy McDonald officially is out for the game with broken ribs. But not the worst news for Randall Cunningham. He's been moving the ball even without McDonald in the lineup. Third down, Cunningham throws to the tight end, and Retzlaff's got 10 and a first down.
And what this does, unless you turn the ball over, is the Eagles will probably have the ball last in this half to do something good with the ball.
Keeping Staubach on the sideline. Cunningham unloads, and that is tipped away by Williams at the goal line.
Number 12 has his pass ball incomplete.
Well, clock management here in the final 31 seconds, paramount for Philadelphia. Four-man rush. Cunningham is in for the touchdown. The Eagles against the division-leading Cowboys have a double-digit lead.
This is big right here because Cunningham makes the smart decision, doesn't see anybody open even though they might be, and he's protecting the ball and running into the end zone.
Third rushing touchdown of the season from one of the greatest dual threats of all time, Randall Cunningham. The all-time Dallas Cowboys, with 18 members of the Hall of Fame on their roster, are arguably the most talented franchise in the history of the league. They just crushed Tampa to win their third game in a row last week, and with the division title on the line for them, the Cowboys have come out flat in all three phases today. It is 14-3 Philadelphia with just a few seconds to go in the half. They'll feed it to Emmitt Smith, who had no chance. Jerome Brown and Seth Joyner combined for the tackle.
Loss of 2 on the play.
And that really epitomizes a first half drubbing. Philadelphia stays alive for the playoffs and the division championship with a win today. And they're off to a great start, up 14-3 at the half. 2 quarters complete from Big D. The Eagles 14 and the Cowboys 3. Second half coming up next. Back to Arlington, the all-time Eagles, courtesy of a Hall of Fame day from their dual threat Randall Cunningham, lead the game 14-3. Akers drives the kickoff away, and the second half from Arlington begins with Bob Hayes. They bring it out to the 20 where Thomas makes the stop. The Cowboys have been held to just 73 yards of offense and 3 first downs. This is an explosive team, but since their first drive, the Cowboys have been a shell of themselves, and Simmons brings down Smith at the line.
A lot of that has to do with the fact that they've been put in some really bad territory, like not very good field position. So that definitely affects play calling on offense.
Quick throw to Michael Irvin, and that pass is incomplete. Certainly doesn't help with Emmitt Smith carrying the ball 8 times today for 5 yards. The Eagles, with that outstanding front four led by Jerome Brown and Reggie White, have completely shut down the Cowboy running game. Staubach takes a shot down the field, tipped away from Irvin. Good coverage by Sheldon Brown.
It's weird because the Eagles' pass rush hasn't necessarily been that great. It's just they had one really good drive with players catching passes and making good routes. And then after that, they're just unable to do anything.
A good return from Westbrook. Eagles defensively led by guys like Reggie White, who led the best defense in the NFL in 1991, along with Eric Allen, and guys like Brian Dawkins and Asante Samuel, Hall of Fame players and absolutely incredible pass-covered defensive backs. Saquon Barkley with a gain of 9, and really, this is the stunner of the weekend so far. The Eagles are crushing Dallas in their building to begin Week 16. Cunningham's pass is dropped by Retzlaff, who's otherwise had a great game.
Yeah, you got to catch passes like those when you've got the Cowboys on ice right here.
2 tight ends on 3rd and a yard. Saquon Barkley is the back, and he'll get the call, cuts it back, and Harris is there to make the play.
And that's the exact reason why you have to make easy catches, because you might not get 1 yard on 3rd and 1, and you might be forced to punt.
Donnie Jones has had an outstanding season, 2nd in punt average and 6th in punt long, but he drives it into the end zone for a touchback. The Cowboys' Roger Staubach, one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, retired with the 2nd best passer rating all time when he hung it up after 1979, and he has been a no-show. Darius Slay is in for the sack.
Yeah, big play Slay on that blitz. Got life for the Eagles in the sack category.
4-man rush. Staubach shoots it deep to Bob Hayes, who beat Eric Allen, who somehow chases him down on a gain of 34.
Eric Allen was very quick, but that was a play where he just got beat. He just got beat on the jam.
Eric Allen with 2 interceptions and 1 return for a touchdown against the Jets. That wound up being really the only sign of life for them. They lose that game, and their playoff chances are dashed if Eric Allen doesn't play like that last week. Reggie White is in for the sack, his 15th of the year, and Hank, hard to imagine any pass rusher better than this guy.
He fell down and got up and made the sack. When is that? He pulled an Albert Hainsworth, except he got up.
Absolutely incredible player, Reggie White. Drew Pearson, hammer to the 46. Look at the numbers of Roger Staubach, but just they can't seem to put these drives together. The Cowboys are 0 for 2 on 3rd down today, and they need 13. 4-man rush. Staubach is hit as he throws, and nothing but Casper the Ghost is out there, and the Cowboys will punt again.
I'm surprised they didn't call an offsides on someone on the defensive line. Seemed to have jumped early, but it might have been one of those things where he got drawn off, and they just decided not to call it.
And McBriar will send the ball right in front of the corner of the end zone. And it's a tough break as that's down for a touchback. Philadelphia needed this win, and they're off to a brilliant start, leading the Cowboys 14-3. Draw, and Barkley's got a hole and picks up 5 on the play. Hank, your thoughts of Barkley and what he did in 2024?
Nothing short of miraculous. Nothing short of anything that can be possibly conceivable. Saquon Barkley went from a very good running back for the New York Giants to quite possibly the greatest offensive player in Philadelphia Eagles history.
Wow, that is high praise.
Bar none. He made an impact in almost every game he played in. And when they took him away, like he had 50 or 60 some odd yards, that was the game where Jalen Hurts really cooked.
And to think that Saquon Barkley was discarded by the Giants after being taken second overall and becoming the face of that franchise. Barkley, who's been the best running back on the field tonight, has got another first down.
Put this in quotes. I don't want to pay a $40 million quarterback to hand the ball off to a $12 million running back. Put that in quotes.
Harold Carmichael dropping the ball there. Saquon Barkley, he began the year buried on the depth chart behind Steve Van Buren, but he is arguably the best running back already in Eagles history as Carmichael catches the slant for the gain of 6.
That was a great pop pass right there. Play action, had a guy over the middle, could possibly have ran it, but you just popped it right over the middle.
Third down, and Cunningham completes the slant to A.J. Brown. Third grab of the day, and his 7th of the year. With McDonald out of the game, they have leaned more on guys like A.J. Brown and Harold Carmichael in the passing game. Final play of the third quarter is another good one from Van Buren. The Eagles, 1 for 2 in the red zone today, but 8 minutes away from being absolutely the story of the league as they lead the Cowboys 14-3. The fourth quarter is coming up next. We are underway. Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon to the fourth quarter from Arlington, Texas. A chance to deliver a statement win on the road. The Eagles are just 4-3 on the road this season. Mike Quick nearly dropped the football. First down.
That was one of those bloop plays. Could have been caught, could have been intercepted, then could have been caught again. You're just glad that it's in the hands of your receiver than it is in the hands of the defensive player.
It really has been that type of day, Hank. Van Buren sheds a tackle in the backfield and is down to the 5.
The ball carrier on the play. Gain of 6.
The all-time Cowboys still, if they're unable to win this one today, they have a chance to clinch the division with a game at the Giants next week, regardless of what happens. But it is real dire straits for them today. So Philadelphia faces 3rd and 5. Cunningham has thrown for just under 200 yards today and has run for another 60, but he'll hand to McCoy, and the Eagles are denied. We've got an injured player on the field, and that is number 55, Leroy Jordan.
Yeah, but in this situation, you stop the Eagles here. They kick a field goal. You could possibly be down by 14 points. It's not in the bag for the Eagles at this point. You know, stranger things have happened with 6 minutes and 17 seconds left to go, down by 14 points.
It is an eternity, but the Eagles are in great shape right now. Sanders on a hop from the goal line, hit by Bradley and taken down by Johnson. Well, if the Cowboys are to mount the comeback here, Hank, they've really got to do it on this drive as they begin at their own 18. Roger Staubach has thrown for just over 100 yards today and no touchdowns. He came in with 16 on the season. Michael Irvin, the playmaker, with the gain of 6.
You really need here a big chunk play where you're going to get 30, 40 yards down the field.
And ironically, they go with the check down instead. First down, Dallas. The Eagles have been depleted in the secondary due to injuries all year. And Roger Staubach, ironically, has had his worst game in a month against the depleted secondary. He throws into the area of Michael Irvin, incomplete.
Number 12.
Incompletions here are not the worst thing you can possibly do. Losses are. You don't want to lose yardage. If you throw an incomplete pass, you got some more chances.
Another incompletion here. You know, Hank, we've seen really weird things happen between these two teams. I can recollect a game in this building where the Eagles blew out Dallas to push them out of the playoffs. And they've met 4 times in the postseason as well, these two franchises. They're very familiar. Intercepted at the 20-yard line by Brian Dawkins, who helped play the Cowboys and all but beat them in the postseason in the 2000s. And Brian Dawkins has his first pick of this year to cap off a phenomenal day for the defense.
That was definitely not what you wanted if you're the Dallas Cowboys. Throwing the ball short in double or triple coverage, that was worse than a loss.
Absolutely. Brian Dawkins missed 2 months this season with a herniated disc, a back injury that sidelined him since the first game of the season. But Brian Dawkins has come back and has been a big boost for this secondary. Eagles are trying to milk the clock and win it right here, up 17-3. Cunningham is hit and taken down by Martin.
Yeah, that's probably not what you wanted out of the Eagles. You probably want to see a running play to get positive yardage. You want to make sure you milk this clock as much as you can if you're the Eagles.
Barkley with plenty of room, but the Cowboys are giving that all day. So Dallas throws the interception, but because of the distance of the throw, it may end up helping them as Jones will send it away. Deion Sanders deep to return for Dallas. And he picks it up at the 10-yard line and is stuffed by Slay at the 15. The Cowboys came into the day 4th in total offense and 7th in points this season, averaging 22 points per game. Held to just a field goal today. Staubach is hit as he throws and finds Irvin for a first down.
Yeah, that was, you have defenders in the zone and you're running corner post routes, you're going to get matchup disasters for the defense if that's what you're going to run.
Michael Irvin, Bob Hayes, and Jason Witten all currently picked for the NFC late season Pro Bowl. Michael Irvin's got it again. Hit by Brian Dawkins. First down, Dallas.
The Cowboys are absolutely exposing the Eagles on these corner route plays where they're passing receivers off and no one's able to cover open receivers at the sideline.
Michael Irvin has been shaken up on the play. He'll leave with 3:12 to go in the 4th. Staubach completes to a leaping Bob Hayes for the gain of 5. Just like the Eagles, no real problem if they lose one of their best receivers. Drew Pearson, Bob Hayes, and Terrell Owens, all Hall of Famers, are in this offense now. First grab of the day for T.O., and he is down to the 7.
That's exactly the crunch, the big plays that you need. Yards per carry, getting it into the red zone.
Hayes on the slant is hammered at the 2. Terrell Owens only played with the Cowboys for 3 seasons, but what a career it was in Big D, helping guide the Cowboys to one of their best seasons ever in 07, led the NFL in touchdowns in 06. They'll line up in the slot, Staubach to the end zone, Pearson, touchdown Dallas.
And what this does for you is you now have 4 timeouts with the inclusion of the 2-minute warning, getting wide open, being covered by a linebacker, and the Cowboys do a great job off of that Eagles punt here.
It's the first touchdown catch of the season from Drew Pearson, and it keeps the Cowboys alive with 2:06 to go. Glad you're with us. Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon on hand. It was only a matter of time before the Cowboys would wake up on offense. Van Buren from 2 yards deep follows his blocks and is hammered by Dexter Coakley at the 19. And not only does that return stop before the 2-minute warning, but it doesn't give them much field position either.
Yeah, this is essentially, if you're the Eagles, you control the ball as much as you can. If you're the Cowboys, just don't let them get past that yellow marker.
You can give him 6.5 all you want, but 7 is to win the game. Barkley stuffed in the backfield by DeMarcus Ware, and DeMarcus Ware has his 15th tackle for loss of a brilliant season in Big D. Hall of Famer DeMarcus Ware has the 6th most tackle for losses in NFL history. Terrific linebacker. We've got an injury here with the run from Barkley, and that is number 76, Hall of Fame tackle Bob Brown. The Eagles have been absolutely ravaged by injuries all year, and now one of their best players ever on offense is down as well. Tommy McDonald should be good to return next week, but he will not return today. Sanders brings it back to the 40, and the Cowboys, who have been absolutely embarrassed through 3 quarters of this one, still have a chance to tie the football game 60 yards away from the end zone. Blitz. Staubach standing in, under duress, and he is sacked at the 31 by Bednarik.
That is, again, something you cannot have if you're the Cowboys. Throw the ball away, try to get 1 or 2 yards, but a sack is worse.
Hayes with the catch, and he breaks a tackle. Bob Hayes to the 20, and Hayes has tied the football game. Touchdown Dallas.
I said that anything can happen. That is definitely one of them. You have to wrap up the receiver on a tackle like that.
And the worst guy to miss a tackle, Hank, is one of the fastest people in the history of professional sports. An absolutely incredible athlete, and Bob Hayes was not going to get denied. 133 yards today, nearly 1,000 with 7 touchdowns on the season. He has been an absolute burner since week 1 against the Jets. The kickoff taken out of the end zone by Steve Van Buren, and he is stacked up at the 19. The Eagles have been held to just a field goal in the second half, and now Philadelphia has 1:14 to work with. The only positive for that Hayes touchdown is there's time on the clock. Crowd on its feet as they bring the blitz to begin the drive, and Cunningham finds Hall of Fame receiver Pete Pihos for a first down.
Yeah, but you got to run the ball as fast as you can up to the line, not make any errors, use your timeouts wisely.
There's the first right there. Third play of the drive for Philly, needing just a field goal to take the late lead. Cunningham's going to go for it all right here, and it is incomplete. Good coverage by Deion Sanders.
Yeah, that had not a very good chance of being completed with the ball being thrown behind the receiver.
In an injury update, the Cowboys Hall of Fame receiver Michael Irvin has sustained a season-ending upper body injury. Devastating news for Dallas. First down pickup here to A.J. Brown, who's in for the injured Tommy McDonald, and that puts them about a first down away from field goal range. Cunningham finds a seam, and he nearly got the first down, but the time is ticking. 2nd and 2. Cunningham unloads, and that is nearly picked off by a diving Cliff Harris.
And that would have been a pick 6. That would have been the dagger to end the game. Very fortunate that that wasn't intercepted.
3rd and 2. Cunningham's going for it all right here, needing just a first down for field goal range, and he finds Carmichael for the touchdown.
That is an absolute dime, but it's absolutely foolish. You have 2 yards, and you're going deep. Luckily, it's the biggest guy on the field. That's an amazing catch.
It makes you wonder why they haven't run that type of play more often if you're Philadelphia. He stands at 6'8", 225 pounds, and unofficially is the tallest receiver in the history of the National Football League. And the Hall of Famer from Texas Southern has a huge touchdown with 19 seconds to go. What a football game we've had here tonight in a winner to take the division in the NFC East. Novacek to the 40, and it's down to this. Dallas does have 2 timeouts and a legendary quarterback Roger Staubach to try and win the game for him. They need a touchdown for overtime. Staubach's got an eternity to throw the ball, so he'll launch it as far as he can to the end zone, tipped away at the goal line with 8 seconds.
Oh, wow, he's got a cannon for an arm. That was a 60-yard pass.
And he'll test that arm one more time. This, barring a penalty, is the final play of the game. Staubach heaves it to the end zone. Away from Pearson, it's tipped, and the Eagles have come into Dallas and have shocked the Cowboys with a phenomenal performance from Randall Cunningham. And now Philadelphia, winners of 4 in a row, is still alive for the postseason. What a performance from their all-star quarterback tonight. For the rest of our outstanding crew for the Dream Season Football League and Hank Cinnamon as well, I am Nick Rice. Thank you so much for watching another edition of the Dream Season Football League. Philadelphia will play for the division title next week when they battle the all-time Washington Redskins Commanders. Until then, the Eagles are winners in Dallas, 24-17.